Our unofficial motto is the same as the Kappas. Why? Not a fraternity. Not a recognized fraternity. So they're biting off. Now, if I was a Kappa, I'd be offended. Get your own slogan. Don't bite off of ours. I earned the right. I crossed the burning sands. I got branded. I got my ass whooped. I did scavenger hunts through garbage dumpsters. I almost failed my classes from lack of sleep, because I had to get up at 3 a.m. to go to the frat house, because big bro wanted to beat me up with a book called The Book of Knowledge, wrapped in dust. Once again, we at the Black Manosphere Conclave put the lies promulgated by apex hater Mr. For Harriet, Malcolm Toussaint, and we welcome any brother out there seeing this to dare to be great and join the elite. I couldn't be Malcolm. If I'm Malcolm, I live in a gun state, and you've been online harassing my wife and me for a year, yeah, I'm gonna send something your way. Pick the caliber. Pick the caliber. I would have to come see. Just on some man shit, like, I can't get you on this online, but I can get you in the physical. This is who y'all align yourselves with. And YouTube says no more. YouTube says no more.
Black woman therapist tired of black women's attitudes.
Men, are you dealing with issues like this? Book a session.
And he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is, in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
He's still talking over me.
Well, you're cutting me off.
When I talk, you stop. Understood?
No, I actually don't understand that, Judge.
Why don't you come down here, and I'll make it clear to you. Come down. I'll see you at 12 o'clock.
I'm not coming at 12 o'clock.
Women, you have to understand that the vast majority of men don't escalate to anger immediately. And you should just leave any man who does. Rather, the vast majority of men will try to communicate with their women many, many, many times in different ways, using different strategies before resorting to anger. And this is how women inadvertently train their men to be angry, by ignoring, disrespecting, or invalidating them when they attempt to communicate non-aggressively. And as should be abundantly obvious, this is very, very stupid.
First of all, a special shout out to you guys who actually support my channel. Those of you guys who like my content, you like, you share, subscribe, you pass it along. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me, because there are those out there who don't. There are those out there who do not like what this platform stands for, who see me as a threat. And I know this because my channel was recently shut down. Not suspended, not given a strike. It was shut down. And I want to explain a couple of things to you around this whole process, because I think this is really giving me an indication as to what's going on out in the market, and just ultimately what to be prepared for. So one morning I wake up to...
This is how women treat other women who don't fall in line with how they think your life is supposed to be. If you want to wash, cook, and clean and submit to your husband, they come over here with pitchforks to call you a pig. No. If you want to obey your husband, it does not fall in line with their narrative, so you are the worst of the worst. Granted, your husband could be a great provider, protector, leader, and teacher, but no, as a woman, you're supposed to be anti-men. As a woman, you're supposed to be like, I am not washing, I'm not cleaning, even though you cock up comfortable in this man's house. It exposes the lies of feminism, what feminism basically is.
Nothing can stop me, 'cause I'm addicted to what you and I realize. Lead the way, I follow, no need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all.
Again, guys, we had a brought in a rush. Let me say something, guys. Obsidian is back. I want to be reminded for respect for his time. Listen, if this man is flagging my channel, I'm going to flag his channel because no one said anything about his name or his location. This man is being a clown as usual. He came to our channel disrespecting us and disrespecting me. Yes, he was tagged because of the incendiary things that he said about me, the old man, and other content creators. And I'm going to provide evidence at some point. But if you want to flag my channel, go ahead, homie. I'm going to flag yours too for harassment and ageism because you came to our channel, my channel, disrespecting me. So if you want to flag, fine, you can play that game. And I'll leave it at that. But before we were so interrupted, and also, guys, don't say anything about a person's location. I didn't see anybody say anything about where this man was located. I didn't see it. He even said where he's from. He said he's from the Lone Star State. So if like I'm saying, I'm from the Tar Heel State. So that's not doxing a person because you don't have the address. He said where he's from. But before we were interrupted, Obsidian, what were you saying about men, Dr. Taraban and other common things that you were saying? And also, I'm gonna bring up the conversation with Helen Smith. But go ahead. I apologize, brother. I apologize.
Yeah, I was just simply saying. I was just noticing what's interesting about all this is that the Black Manosphere Conclave.
A special shout out to you guys who actually support.
Hold on. I apologize.
You guys who like my content, you share, subscribe,
hold
pass it
on.
along. thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me, because there are those.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sid. I apologize, brother.
Yeah,
You're saying, go ahead.
yeah. I was saying that that we take black male mental health very seriously. That's the reason why we reached out to you. We reached out to other black male mental health professionals, and we take it seriously. And I think it's kind of sad that brothers like yourself are kind of like put down by black people, in this case, black men.
Right.
I think that's kind of really sad. Meanwhile, and no disrespect to Dr. Taraban, Dr. Smith, and others, but nobody seems to give them that kind of pushback. And I do think it's racial in nature. I do.
Oh, it's definitely racial. It's definitely self-hate, because I think I do a masterful job trying to take clinical concepts and tying it to what I call positive ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism, Obsidian, is a term that's used many times to more or less convey Eurocentric thought. So ethnocentrism say that, their way, their methodology is the end all be all. And so even though theoretically the intervention can be sound, sometimes the dissemination of an intervention is not always applicable to different cultures. So I call it positive ethnocentrism, because I take that spin and I flip it in a way, Obsidian, that can be palatable to those from the African diaspora. But sadly, like you were saying, no different than Umar Johnson, whether you like him or not, they asked him about his credentials too, if you remember. They asked Umar
and I was
credentials.
Against that. I didn't think, I was like, no, man, if you got a disagreement with Dr. Umar, bring on the disagreement, but don't try to denigrate his credentials.
Right.
You got a disagreement with him or you don't.
You talk about how powerful, and I'm going to say, Obsidian, you are winning. I think what we're trying to do is men are winning. And there are some detractors that say, well, Obsidian went too far. Well, I don't know. I mean, I watch your content, but I'm so busy doing my own thing. But I would say, conversely, Obsidian, that we are winning. And as I say, I am an adjacent. I don't have a card or a ring to say I'm part of a manosphere. The manosphere is just a collection of signals that come together to share their story and to share their pain. I would say that we are winning, whether we're doing it in pockets or in unison. We're winning to the point, Obsidian, it's gone to the national level. Sadly, before Kevin's untimely demise, it was getting a lot of rep, to the point that celebrity and stars were talking about the power of this space. What would you say to your detractors about the state of the union and the state of this space, in your opinion? What would you say to your detractors?
Well, I would just simply say we got 3 conclaves behind us, and we got a 4th one ahead of us, and I would just simply point to that. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. A lot of black men lives have been greatly improved as a result of the conclave. We set out in 2021 to get 300 brothers in the pipeline. We achieved that goal by 50. In other words, we had 350 brothers by last year. So we achieved the goal and then some in only 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think the results speak for themselves. And, for those that would consider themselves critics, I would just simply say, do better.
Right. And, I've always said, Obsidian, that needs drive behaviors. How would you interpret that sentiment when I say needs drive behaviors? How would you interpret that sentiment?
I would interpret it as being very true. Needs do drive behaviors, and not all needs are good ones. And there's clearly a need to try to take shots at. What's fascinating about this is the more we seem to do for black men, the more guff we get.
Yes, right.
And that's like it has a morbid fascination for me. Why would people seem to go out of their way to put down black men for trying to help other black men? That's what's fascinating to me. So
well, I think what it is from a clinical perspective, and I'm going to surmise this, that it's over-identification. When you got a rampant group of black men born in single-parent homes where they don't have fathers, I'm going to surmise that it's over-identification. Over-identification turns to something called introjection. Introjection turns to internalization. Internalization turns to identification, and then the anger is manifest in projection. And so that's what I think it is in the clinical world. It's an amalgamation of a lot of different things going on psychologically. That a lot of these boys have been transmitted through negative socialization, and they transmit that to other black men. I don't get it, but once again, I'm saying these are the same detractors to say we want a strong black community. That's why I've said it once, and I'll say it again. If I was a single man again, I would never deal with the typical American woman. Is there a remnant left? Yeah, there's some decent sisters left. But I'm saying for me, and I know what I want, I would never deal with the typical American woman if I was single. I have very high standards. But I know what we were talking about. We were talking about infidelity and all of that. And what I was saying is that in many relationships, Obsidian, there are situations where if a man had to do what he got to do, I say it's justified. What I was saying is that in a situation where if that man entered into a relationship, that woman is willfully denying him of intimacy. If that man got to take care of his needs, if he's doing everything in his right as a man, because consistent with the scriptures say the only time you deny your man sex or intimacy is when you're fasting and praying. The scripture said, hurry up and come back together unless the enemy come in. So in that case, a man has a right, in my opinion, to take care of his needs. Now, some would say, well, take the high road. Well, you're going to take the high road until the kids are 20? You mean to tell me you got to wait till if you 6 or 5, you got to wait till the children are 6, you got to wait till they're 18 before you can get intimacy from your wife.
Yeah.
I know men are sitting in marriages where they get intimacy once a month. Another situation, if a woman used deception to get a man, if that man said, I got to take care of my needs, I'm going to do what I got to do, if it's a fake relationship, I'm not mad at that man. And so that might sound controversial, but I stand on what I say. Now, in an ideal world where that woman ended that relationship and she's genuine, she didn't do anything wrong, then I would concur with you that man need to do the right thing. But all cases and all situations are not the same. I call it situational ethics, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
but,
well, let me just speak to that. I think that in a situation like that, marriage is a contract,
right? And
one of the terms of the contract is the reasonable expectation of regular sex with your spouse. Yes. And if he or she doesn't, I'm not just aiming this at women. If he or she,
right,
fails to do that, then the contract is null and void.
Yes, right. I totally agree.
Just like turning it back to the men for a minute. If a man fails to, many black women prefer a provider and protect. That's fine. So if he fails in that dispatch, he's voided the contract. Mm-hmm. So it goes both ways. So why would in any other area of life, when you voided the contract, why do you expect the other parties to still continue doing what they're doing? Mm-hmm. So in that sense, now I can't abide by adultery. Clearly, in my opinion, if that is the situation the man is facing, then the advisable thing for him to do is just divorce, in my opinion. But
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so I would just leave it at that.
Well, the only reason why I say that, okay, so I'm gonna challenge your talking point because I respect you. If there's a such thing called marriage fraud, then it's not a valid marriage. And then also, if you have young kids, it's not that easy just to get a divorce. In theory, it sounds good, but if you got a baby or infant child that's say 2 or 3, you got a house, you got a lot of investments, it's not that easy just to get a divorce. So yeah. I understand what you're saying, but we'll just leave it alone. But I do respect your talking points. Yeah. As this space continues to grow, Obsidian, I've seen it grow, you've seen it grow. What is the biggest hurdle you think we have moving forward as a space or as a collection of black men? And before you say so, shout out to my man, S. James Palmer for the 10. I appreciate it, brother. Go ahead, Obsidian.
Oh, so what is the biggest problem or challenge?
The biggest hurdle that you see.
The biggest hurdle right now that the Black Manosphere has, believe it or not, doesn't have anything to do with haters or detractors. It has everything to do with staying focused on what's important. Because at the end of the day, the detractors and critics, they're not going to matter.
But you can get emotional support from a friend. On the other hand, most people are not going to get sex elsewhere.
Someone's playing in the background.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold tight.
I could give you 10 zillion examples, but
I'm sorry. I didn't know I had to play. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the single biggest challenge facing the Black Manosphere, particularly the conclave, I want to focus on that. The single biggest challenge is just staying focused on what actually matters. I tell you, one of the reasons I'm actually glad that I'm not in not the technical algorithm of YouTube, but I guess you could say social or cultural algorithm. Because I'm no longer part of that kind of whole stew anymore. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I'm in a whole nother space, literally, with Rumble. So I'm glad, because that gives me the chance to really focus on what's important. And I want to focus, now that I'm in a new space, I want to focus on the guys that come out for me, that support me with their hard-earned money, that support me in other ways. I can really focus on them instead of worrying about people who, to be brutally frank, aren't supporters, and they just want to see things fail. That, they're just negative. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not interested in talking to them. I'm not really interested in talking about them. I'm not interested in trying to debate or convince them. That they have their view, they're entitled to it. They got a whole space where they can vent that. God bless them. I want to, focus on the guys who came out for me and the other guys at the Black Manosphere Conclave. I want to focus on the guys who are in support of what it is that I'm doing. So I think that's the single biggest challenge for the brothers in the Black Manosphere, is to focus on the brothers, and by extension, some sisters who actually matter, and leave those who don't alone. Just leave them alone.
Yeah. When you look at the world obsidian, you and I are Gen X's, where the world is at now compared to where it was at in the past. Do you see things getting better, or do you see it proliferating for the worse? How do you see it in the greater context of things?
I see things absolutely better. We had our very first conference call, Black Manosphere membership conference call last week, and there were over 100 guys turned out. I was thinking at best maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen, if that. I was shocked to see that many brothers come out for a call. We had a Zoom call, it was private, and that was very heartwarming. Tickets for the Black Manosphere Conclave in Houston this year, September 6th through the 8th. We've sold more tickets in the past month than we did in the last conclave in the entire first quarter. So, things are better. I mean, it goes back to that whole negative piece. I have noticed, and I'm not proud to say this,
right?
I have noticed that a lot of Black men on YouTube, and I really don't like saying this, but I'm going to say it. I've noticed that there are Black men on YouTube that they just kind of thrive in negativity. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I have found that being away from that is really, really good for my soul, man. Because I'm an inherently optimistic person to begin with, and I'm always about trying to move the needle forward. And I think that my time on YouTube has borne that out. I made the top 100 YouTubers list 8 times in 2023. I wrote a #1 best-selling book for Black men. I mean, where does that happen? A #1 best-selling book aimed at Black men. How often does that happen? I've been a part of 3 Black Manosphere conclaves, Black men changing their lives. And I've grown as a person. So I want to stay on that trajectory. I really don't want to be around guys that basically all they have is negativity. I just don't want to be around it. So I see the Rumble situation as a blessing in disguise. And my only regret is that I didn't know about it sooner. Because if I did, I would have bypassed YouTube altogether. So.
It's unfortunate, man, as you were saying, Obsidian, your channel went through what it went through. And, you had people like Shay, now you got this fool trying to do what he's trying to do, playing the victim, by the way, because, this man came on this channel disrespecting you and I tagged him because I don't know if you saw his live stream. He did a live stream, Obsidian, a while ago talking about you and your situation and rejoicing. Actually, he did 2 live streams about you. Did you know about it, or you didn't know about it?
No, I'm just, that's one of the great things about, not being on YouTube anymore. Unless somebody brings something to my attention, I have no idea. But it also goes to my point that there's a lot of guys in the space, and I take personal responsibility for it.
Right.
Leaders lead from the front.
Right.
Unwittingly, I did not know it at the time, but unwittingly, I kind of set the stage for a lot of these guys to kind of come in and kind of thrive. And,
Talk about that. Talk about that, Obsidian.
Yeah, I had made the mistake that a lot of brothers are like me.
Right.
And I've learned over the past 9 years that there are brothers that are not like me.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's bad per se, because people have a right to their own paths. But what I would say is that it did kind of harm the Black Manosphere project. And so this Rumble situation is giving me a chance to kind of, hit the reset button and kind of do things, a bit better this time.
Right.
So I want to be around Black men like me who want to move the needle forward. I'm not interested in Black men who always got something negative to say.
No, same here. I totally agree. I agree.
I'm not interested in that.
Right. No, I agree.
And they try to frame it as, a critique or, they have a right to freedom of speech. No, you're just negative.
Right.
And the fruits and the result of your life bear that out. I want to be around guys that are growth oriented, that are motivated, that want to make things happen. We've done that 3 years in a row. We're going to do it again this year. I'm a #1 best-selling author, writing a book for Black men. And I'm at the top of my field, my chosen profession as a podcaster. The top 100 YouTubers, and there's upwards of 500,000 full-time YouTubers in the United States. So, I mean, I see myself as going out on top, if anything, as far as YouTube is concerned.
Well, I'm impressed with your resilience, man. Thank God, man. I don't have to rely on YouTube. Shout out to my man Saul. Him and I both are professional men, and I got an opportunity to make real bank this year. I mean, real bank. I mean, I'm talking about damn near close to 200,000 if I hustle right. So I don't need YouTube to live. I don't need it. I'm grateful for it because I like aligning myself with you and other men. But I don't need it. But one thing about me, I don't live by that zodiac stuff. But you and I both are fiery people. Leo personified, Sag personified, strong personalities. I don't bother people, but I can have a temper if you take me there. And I try to keep it under wraps. But I don't like bullies. I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't bother people. But you're not going to bully me. You're not going to bully my people. You're not going to try to silence me. And as I said before earlier, if this person flags his channel is going to be flagged because, to my knowledge, nobody talked about this man. But that's neither here nor there. You have been through a lot of contentious conversation with a lot of people. You talked about this woman, we're not going to call her name, where she, made accusations and whatnot. The video that this man did about you, Obsidian, if you want to see it, I can show it to you. If not, that's fine.
No, I'd rather not.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But the video that they made about you, which I found to be appalling, it's always Obsidian bad, Manosphere bad, culture bad, and they're the victim. They attack you and can critique you, but when you critique them, then they're the victim. And it's weird, this pathology that we see a lot of times in this so-called community. I'll always say that some of these Negroes, they're not in my tribe. Tavis Smiley say all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And just because your skin color is black, I don't associate with some of these people. I associate with conscious people. They have a rational mind, and they're for the advocacy of Black men and boys and for healthy families and healthy relationships. That's what I stand for. But you are very resilient. Where do you get that resiliency from, Obsidian? And also, when I was asking about the future, you're talking about the manosphere in particular, which is true. But I'm talking about social trends. You and I are both Gen Xers. Things have changed radically since the time we finished high school. That's what I'm talking about succinctly. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Where do I get my resilience from? Well, I guess I would say my dad, my granddad, as well as a inherent personality trait. I just don't see. I always see opportunities in everything. whether I take advantage of them or not, I always see opportunities in everything.
Right.
And I just look at things differently than other people do. So, I mean, my thinking is this: if I can do what I did on YouTube, what could I do on Rumble?
Right.
That's what I look at. You know, I've written books now. I'm a published author. I've been to the dance. If I can do one bestseller, I can do two. So, you know, I just have a glass half full look at life. And I think it's kind of sad that some brothers they have a glass half empty look at life. And it's reflected around them. You know, all you brothers coming out to support me and the rest of the brothers at the conclave, man, that was such a great feeling, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm so happy and blessed and fortunate to be a part of truly making history. And I really am humbled by that.
Right, right. Well, I'm proud of you, man. You've shown a lot of resilience and you've shown a lot of integrity as you try to ascend to the top. What would you say you learned about your own growth and development in this space? And what would you have done differently in the current versus in the past versus the current? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the number one thing I would have done differently is I would have gone to Rumble off the rip. I would have, you know, bypass YouTube altogether if I'd have known about it sooner. That's number one. But that aside, I think that the real trouble came for me when I started to change.
Right.
I think for a lot of black men in this space, I was not supposed to change. I was supposed to be a kind of avatar for a certain type of black man. And that black man is kind of stuck in their life. And they kind of want someone to kind of be their spokesman and kind of almost be an apologist for where they are. And there was a lot of black men who have like really invested in the idea that I couldn't get a woman or, just all kind of stuff. And when all of those things weren't true, it seemed to just really like bring the worst out of them.
Right.
And that's kind of sad, to tell you the truth. Not really sure. Well, no, scratch that. That's not my problem to solve. I'm not going to apologize for, striving to be better. I'm not going to apologize for being successful. I'm not going to apologize for daring to be great. I'm not going to apologize for it. And I'm done with attempting to reason with such black men.
Right.
They have a right to exist. I don't have any ill will toward them. I'm just going to go over here and get with black men of like mind who are like me, who want better for their life and don't make any apologies for it. So I have changed. And, I've changed, and that's the reason why I could scrub, earlier pictures of me from the internet if I wanted to. I leave them up there for a reason because I want people to see how I've changed over the years.
Right. And, I found it very distasteful. This person is talking about doxing, but they actually call that your government name. I don't know if you know about it, but I think they called your government out. Are you aware of that or you're not aware of it?
No, I'm not. But here's the thing with that.
Right.
Their hypocrisy, because that's what's going on right now. If you just take a step back, and I want everybody to think about this. President Joe Biden is senile.
Right.
Okay. I don't take any pleasure in that.
Right.
In saying that. I personally think that the left is broken because this is not the first time that they have put forward someone who is clearly incapable of doing the job due to age and infirmity.
Right.
They did it with now deceased Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes, sir.
I think it is unconscionable for the left because of their craven interest to hold on to power, to put up people in their twilight years where they should be enjoying their final years in comfort and security around their family, putting them out there to the rigors of this type of work because they want to hold on to power. I think it is a signpost of just how morally bereft these people are.
Right.
Their hypocrisy. You look at what happened at Harvard. You look at what happened at UPenn. You look at what's happening. I just mentioned Joe Biden. I just mentioned Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You look at what happened with Fani Willis in Georgia. You look at what's happening in, Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore. She's about to go to jail. You see what the left has become.
Yes.
And so these people who want to put on the mantle of righteousness and are doing all kinds of craven chicanery, they will eventually hoist themselves on their own petard. And I don't even need to be around to see it.
Well, go ahead, brother. I apologize. Go ahead.
No. I don't even need to be around to see it. It's just the nature of things. They will hoist themselves on their own petard.
And the thing I don't understand, Obsidian, is this. Sadly, women that look like you and I, and some men, but it's mostly women, they vote for these demigods, and these liberal politicians at a very astronomical rate. On up to the crisis is going on in Chicago. I don't know if they got immigrant flooding in Philly. I don't know if I know they got it in New York. They got it all over the place. And I'm not going to get into the esoteric too much, but they call it the Cliven-Piven theory. They call it Hegelian dialectic. I don't know if you've heard of that before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it basically means to bring order out of chaos. And it makes sense if you look at it from a theological framework. And I like what CB said. He said that so Obsidian Radio got taken down. This is coming from the Antichrist. These are the same people dividing men against women. They don't want black families led by men. I agree with that. Some will argue, Obsidian, I need to address the fact that you were quote unquote obsessed with this woman that I'm not going to call her name. And once again, I mean, you do content. You said several times as BFF. And I personally don't have an issue with content. Like you were saying, you've done content on Derek Jackson many times. I don't care if a person critique me, as long as it's fair. You're not calling out, you're not trying to denigrate my character or dox me or trying to mess with my livelihood. I don't care if you do videos of me. There's a guy named Baller X that did a video calling me old, which is funny because, against another content creator. But I don't care about stuff like that because, it's YouTube. It's a bunch of weird, toxic folks on YouTube that, that you will know that you're winning, as you were saying, is that when you're doing the work, like you were talking about Cornell earlier, then the brigade will come. If I was talking about black love and saving the community and the black woman is God, I would be the greatest black therapist on YouTube. But because I talk about male empowerment and male mental health and men getting what's best for them, then, I'm the worst person in the world. But here's the problem with me. I'm a warrior. I'm not afraid, I don't talk violence, but I'm not afraid of anyone. And I commend you for being a stalwart in your work and trying to carry the conversations for what men are trying to do. I was at the conclave. The conclave was powerful, man. And that's why I took such great umbrage, Obsidian, where this man, before they came on this chat earlier, and this woman identified, and let's bring those words back up again, Obsidian, as a public health threat. I took umbrage with that, Obsidian, when people use what's called weaponizing language in the form of a thinking era called catastrophizing. Words like terrorists, missing war, public health crisis, manosphere. He's talking about black women. When you see all these words, because the same people that talk about ageism, this same person called you an old man or middle-aged man, trying to denigrate you. But when you see this weaponizing language, how's that impacted you mentally, or you just let it roll off your back like water roll off a duck's behind? How have you?
Pretty much, what it tells me is that they don't have an argument.
Right.
They pretty much admitted that they don't have an argument.
Mm-hmm.
I actually put in writing my response to the claim made by the woman in question about the Black manosphere being a public health crisis. And I just broke it down. Is the Black manosphere responsible for the STD rate in Black America that's rampant in places like Houston, where Black women are suffering from an epidemic of syphilis and their children are born with it? Is the Black manosphere responsible for the killing fields that Chicago has become?
Right.
And other areas in Black America where the homicide rate since the George Floyd riots just through the roof. Is the Black manosphere responsible for that? Is the Black manosphere responsible for the strife between Black men and Black women that has been extant for decades? Those are public health crises. Is the Black manosphere responsible for the pandemic, a public health crisis? See, these type of languages or these type of terms, like you said, weaponizing terms, and it's hysterical, it's hyperbolic, and it's indicative of some people who just don't have an argument.
Right.
I can actually make an argument. That's the reason why I responded to these ridiculous and fallacious claims in writing. They're over on the Black Manosphere Conclave website. They're there for anybody to read. And I'll say this, two things. First, I find it interesting that the brother in question did not go to my writings about what I just talked about. They instead go to the writing that you displayed earlier.
Right.
So that tells me where that brother's head is. That's number one.
Well, he's not even your brother, man, because brothers don't do that. So don't even give him the quality of calling this man a brother. But go ahead. Go ahead, Obsidian.
And number two, to the question, to the claim rather, that I'm somehow terrorizing Black women. I'm somehow obsessed, because that's a popular talking point among modern Black feminists.
Yes, sir.
You say anything in response to what they say, now all of a sudden you're obsessed.
Yes, sir.
I did 64 videos, 64 videos on Derek Jackson. 64. That's more. That's like 3 times, at least, if not more, times the number I've done on the woman in question. So what does that say about the claim that I'm obsessed with her, or I'm obsessed with Black women of a certain stripe? I've done 64 video and then wrote extensively about Derek Jackson in 2 books. 2. So if I'm obsessed with anybody, I'm obsessed with him. If that's going to be the argument,
right?
If that's the hill we're gonna die on, that would be the argument. It's fallacious. These are attempts to try to get away from an actual debate, because these people are cowards. Period. Point blank. They are morally bereft.
Yes.
Intellectually bereft. They are cowards.
They're cowards. I totally agree. I mean, and always play the victim. You know, it's almost like a bully. A bully hits you in the mouth, and then once you hit them back in the mouth, then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. And see, I don't tolerate bullies. Even this man that ran his mouth earlier, I don't tolerate bullies from anyone. I'm not afraid of anything for the most part. I don't know where I'm getting this courage from in my latter years, but maybe I'm busting out of the box like Rick James saying, busting out. But I understand that my work is important. I know that I'm doing the work, Obsidian, because when your detractors come and they try to assail you, they try to discredit you, when they try to undermine you, when you show them the evidence and they still have paltry evidence, because in the clinical world, Obsidian, we call it collaborative empiricism. That's just a fancy way of saying, where's the evidence based on your recollection that what I'm doing is what you're saying that I'm doing. But you show them the evidence, Obsidian, and you show them to them over and over again, but because they have what's called severe cognitive dissonance, Obsidian, I mean it's severe, this is what happens.
Cognitive dissonance is a condition that happens for a myriad of reasons. Many times in modern America, men and women often do one of the following. They deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message. and they will fight you or flee because they cannot hear what you are saying. A condition such as this, tied into cognitive dissonance, often happens to those that have or lack self-awareness. They stay in a perpetual cycle of arrested development, exhibited by this.
Kevin Samuels talked about sign language, Obsidian. I came up with my own acronym because I am the kosher clinician, and I call it DEAF. They deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message. And like what this man is doing, a boy is doing, and others, then they fight you or flee. What do you think about that statement, that sentiment, based on what I just showed you a minute ago?
I think you're 100% correct. And I think that's really what's at issue here. Let me say this, too, because I want this on the record. I have zero interest in wanting to censor or deplatform or run off the woman in question here.
Right.
I have zero interest in that. I think she has every right to earn a living. I think she has a right to do it by the sweat of her brow and her ideas. I think she has a right to give voice to her opinions in the public square. But she's not entitled to her own facts. She's not entitled to be protected from criticism, legitimate critique. And if she cannot handle other people disagreeing with her, then she needs to get into another line of work. That I want that to be made clear and put on the record.
Yeah, and you know, sadly, it's important. It's very important that you say and do what you need to do, because those things happen. Andrew Baker says, "Salute kosher and Obsidian brothers. Brothers rising will continue no matter how much haters try to silence us. The black man voice has awakened many black men and will continue in the near future. Obsidian, keep up the great work." And Obsidian, you still got a lot of fans that love you.
Right, that's a deal, that's the deal, right?
And then also shout out to the great Alex
Sky. That's the deal, right? That's the deal, right? Right, got 5 on it.
He said, an avatar for what type of man exactly, Obsidian? How would you respond to that, Obsidian?
Yeah, when I first started out 9 years ago, and I started changing about 6 years ago. So, I think that there is a contingent of black men on YouTube that didn't like that.
Right.
They liked. I remember Kevin used to have. There would be 8-hour-long streams of black men railing against Kevin because he said, if you want to get somewhere in life, you need to wear a suit. If you want to get, ahead in the corporate environment, you need to get a haircut. Things like that. And these guys, and again, we're not talking about college kids here. We're talking about guys at the very least in their 30s and typically in their 40s and beyond, railing against that. And when I decided to switch up my appearance, I just got, it's funny. Here's the other interesting thing. So when I decided to change up my appearance, all the guff that I got from a lot of ladies went down. But
what do you mean by that? Explain. I'm sorry to cut across. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, everybody knows that I'm a critic of certain black female behavior, and I still am. But I noticed that when I changed my appearance, a lot of ladies just kind of toned it down. But I noticed that a number of brothers kind of kicked it up, and it was very, very instructive. And then I would get accused that you seeking female validation. That had nothing to do with it. It was actually a business move. I've made more money as a result of improving my appearance.
Right.
Bottom line, I've made more money, infinitely more. And so it had nothing to do with getting female validation or anything. But I did notice that the ladies kind of got quiet, and the guys just got real loud. So I mean, there's guys who I think this sort of avatar, a lot of these guys want dudes to represent for them in their current state, and I remember Nicki Minaj telling Kevin about these guys who are going around on TikTok using Kevin's talking points, but not doing what Kevin did, cleaning themselves up, looking better, looking more polished. They still want to look the same way that they look, but they want to be able to talk the way Kevin did to these ladies. And it doesn't work.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
Right. Shout out to my man Top Gun for the 2. I appreciate it. And in the words of JJ, you are dynamite. I'm going to show you something else. See how much time you got, brother. I want to be mindful of your time.
Yeah, I got 10 more minutes. I can do 10.
All right. I appreciate it. You've been so generous with your time. You almost gave me 3 hours, so I appreciate it, brother. Let me show you something else, Obsidian, based on what Orion Terabon is saying, and then also Dr. Helen Smith. Hold tight.
Do I find this person attractive? Do we have chemistry? How frequent is the sex? What kind of sex are we having? It's like you can want an understanding partner, but you can get understanding from a confidant. You can be emotionally supported, but you can get emotional support from a friend. On the other hand, most people are not going to get sex elsewhere.
And you know, the sitcoms and the TV shows and,
Right.
and all that. And
About how men are acting immaturely, and they're just, they can get a bunch of sex and they don't care and they don't want to get married. But my point in the book is that men are acting rationally. They're acting maturely because the rewards for men in the fields of marriage or education, careers, and fatherhood are a lot less than they used to be, and the costs and dangers are a lot higher. So I talk in the book about that men are opting out.
opting out of getting married, basically, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's one of the first chapters in the book.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different reasons for that. One of the interesting things is that fewer and fewer men want to get married, and the average age for men is actually going up in the United States. It's something like it's 29 right now, but it's heading up towards 30. Which is a pretty high average. And Pew Research did a study, and they actually found that women who were between 25 and 34, one of the most important things in their life is to get married. And for guys, it's actually the opposite. In the last 15 years, men's interest in marriage has dropped from about 35% to 29% who say the same thing. And for those men who are 30 to 50, a large number, something like a third of them, don't want to get married at all. And I think because there are many reasons, but some of them...
And, one of the things I'm seeing that so many say, they always say, I was listening to you and Ramil today, and they were talking about shame, blame, and explain.
Yeah.
But even the prophets preached the gospel. They preached the theology said, be in and out of season, exhort, rebuke, and reprove. So when people say within shame, blame, and explain, but then the prophets are over shame, blame, and explaining. You have to tell the truth of sitting in order for change to happen. Some purport that we're trying to bring women. Me personally, when I do these shows, I'm not expecting women to come back to the table. I don't care about them coming back. I do these shows to embolden black men to get better options. That's why I do it, And then also when you talk about, like you said, BFF, it's just evergreen content. But I do it personally because I want men to have better options than men that have done the work. But, white men are going through the same thing that black men are going through.
Right.
So where's the critics that say black men are the only ones that talk about their women? How would you respond to those critics?
Well, again, those are people that are very ignorant, A, and B, they're just upset. I don't know why it's so hard for black people to just simply say, you know what, man, I don't like so and so. That's all it is. I think the reason why is because I think everybody knows, well, you don't like them. Why are you watching them? And right. I don't watch people that I don't like.
Right.
And I don't speak about it because there's nothing to talk about. If I don't like so and so, I don't talk about it. Now people will say, well, you talk about Derek Jack. Well, this is what I do for a living. There's a difference. You do it as a hobby. I do it for a living. People pay me to hear my take on various individuals, events, things like that. But in my private life, in my off time, I am not concerned with what fill in the blank does. I have other interests. And I think for a lot of black people, they have trouble making that distinction. And that's not a problem I can or should solve.
Right.
So that's
right
about that.
Right. The fact that we are evolving, the fact that men are beginning to wake up, and we know that there are factions in the group. Some will say that, that the manosphere is divided. Some will say that it's broken. How would you respond to those critics? Because I would say in the State of the Union address to hold the line, how would you respond to the sentiment that is fragmented and broken, and also the importance of holding the line? What does that mean to you?
I think the idea that the black manosphere was, first of all, every year, no matter what is happening, there are these negative guys, and I have to focus it that way. It's not black women, it's black men, and it's really sad.
Right.
There are black men in the, as Uncle David Carroll will call, y'all's Negro sector of YouTube. They're just negative people, man. And I realized something last year before all this other stuff happened. I realized that, you know what, man? You need to get away from these people.
I agree.
You need to get away from them, because and I rarely use this word, but I'm gonna use it now. They're toxic.
I totally agree.
They'll make you sick, and even if they don't make you physically sick, they'll make you mentally sick. If they don't make you mentally sick, they'll make you sick in other ways, not necessarily physically or even mentally, but sick in other ways. Like, I notice a lot of these guys that are very negative, their channels don't grow.
That's true.
They don't make any money.
Right.
They're negative because they haven't succeeded. And they're not willing to do what's required to succeed. And that's the reason why they kind of go all over the place. I got guys that's been following me for years. And this is really sad. They follow me around for years. And nobody really wants to be bothered with them. And they hang out with other guys. The old adage about you're the sum total of the 5 people that you surround yourself with is so true. Birds of a feather flock together. They get with other guys and they got nothing going on. And all they have is negativity toward any black man. And I've noticed, and I've watched these guys. They have nothing but negativity toward black men who are moving the needle.
Right.
They're haters.
Yeah. And
they're
yes.
haters.
No, I totally agree, man. And they become very pernicious when it comes down to what they're trying to do. They're trying to find all attempts to try to destroy you, your channel, your livelihood, and all of that. Because they want to control the conversation. And the thing with me, like I say, I'm normally calm, but I become very hyper vigilant when people try to control me, especially when you start attacking me. I don't know, it's some in my internal framework that makes me become aggressive. And, because like I say, I don't bother people. And it's unfortunate, but in theology, it's a continue to fight on like a good soldier. It's obvious you're making somebody mad. Like you were saying, when a person tries to assail you, that means that you've already won the argument,
right?
And that you're winning the war. And when you think about the untimely demise of your dear friend and how they celebrated his untimely demise.
Oh yeah, including the woman in question, including
right?
Her. She's among them. So I mean, again, these are people who don't grow because they're negative. And I want to focus on growth. I want to focus on you're now an alum. You're one of us with the Black Manosphere, brother in arms.
Right.
I want to work with brothers like you and other black men who actually come out to the conclave, brothers who actually come out and support me over on Rumble. Those are the black men I want to work with. I am done trying to reason with or put up with or even be around black men who don't want that. They have a right to exist, and God bless them. But I want to work with brothers who want the same thing that I want, and that's where I'm at with it. And then we will go on and prosper together. That's where I'm at with it.
Before you go, and thank you for your time, you've been very generous. You notice your detractors, Obsidian, they talk about black men being positive and black men building. But when black men are building, it's like this who came on a couple of minutes ago, he attacks the Black Manosphere and what we're trying to do. Me, you, and also Guapo, sadly, and also the nukes this person did. But you would have thought this man would have said, these brothers are putting in work. These brothers are trying to build something for good sisters. Instead, they tried to change the conversation and make this space about some kind of tyrannical dictators men hating women. And here's the crazy thing. I've been with my wife for 28 years. So when they say they hate black women, no, I don't hate black women. I don't like the current state of the American woman. Being a licensed professional and seeing what men go through in session, I don't want men to go through that. So to the young men that are listening, I want those men to get the best outcomes. I want the young men to get the best outcomes to those men that are listening. And so that's what I'm talking about. I take great umbrage and people trying to more or less derail the conversation and telling men how to think. I don't like it when, like, there was a situation you went through and the person was trying to tell you how to talk and what you shouldn't talk about. And I'm like, in other cultures, you know, they would never tolerate a woman coming in trying to tell a man what they're saying, what to talk about. Yeah. That enrages me because I haven't seen it, and you don't see that in other cultures. But before you leave, what did you get from the conversation? The conversation was actually longer. But what did you get from the conversation?
I think, as always, it's always a great time being with you, a kosher clinician. Great conversation. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You can catch me over on Rumble. Just look for my name, Mumia Obsidian Ali Unleashed. And I will be live on Monday as per usual. We had a great week, great opening week, and looking forward to continue that. Thank you all, and good night.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. Take care of yourself. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, man. Be good. Be well. All right, guys. Shout out to my man, Real Bravado Network. He said, I'm here listening to learn. I appreciate it to the Real Bravado Network. Thank you to that good brother. And then also the International Quiet Storm. Guys, go check him out on Rumble, please. Good conversation. And this, like I said, guys, has been a very powerful conversation. I'm going to finish playing some of the stuff from Dr. Helen Smith, to say the least. And guys, we're going to continue to understand why men are actually checking out. And once again, guys, this is not a black man issue. This is an American man issue, to say the least. This is an American man issue, to say the least. So hold tight. I'm going to finish playing some of those salient talking points. Hold tight.
Are the legal issues. The risks for men are very high for marriage. Men don't tend to get custody of kids as often. They tend to be the ones that pay alimony. We've changed a lot of the rules for women because we thought that the old ways were not right. But now we still have in place a lot of rules for men.
Very draconian rules for men, absolutely.
Yes, and they're getting worse, and we have new ones coming out every day to control men's sexuality, and I think that a lot of men are seeing that, and they're just sort of acting out of the game altogether.
Oh, well, there's so much I want to talk to you about. Okay, and I was going to ask you about something else, but now you say, okay, what rules that are trying to control men's sexuality? You mean, I mean, you're not talking about little boys, you know, preventing them from being quote-unquote real boys and starting there, but what you're talking about sexuality, how, what?
Well, I'm talking, first of all, there's lots of these laws or rules in colleges. The colleges they say that if a man is found, it used to be a 90 to 100%, you had to find a man guilty of a sexual assault. And now on the college campuses that take federal funds, there was an Obama letter that in 2011 went out and it said, okay, any man that's found guilty of a sexual harassment or sexual abuse or a sexual assault, all we have to have is 50% in a feather. In other words, there's these campus administrators. They have what's called a campus tribunal, and they control young men's sexuality by saying, okay, we don't really need a large amount of evidence. All we need is we think you did it. And that young man can be thrown out of school. They can have their career options limited because who's going to want to hire a guy who's been accused of sexual abuse or harassment? And the other thing is,
and the night, and Bishops, you're correct. It's real simple. A lot of people don't really get how hard YouTube is. It's hard. It's real work. Yeah, man, it's a lot of work, man. And that's why, guys, to those that want to flag this channel, y'all know who it is. If they flag this channel, make sure you guys do what y'all need to do as well, because what we're not going to tolerate is people disrespecting this channel and what I'm trying to do, and then turn around and play the victim. I didn't put anyone's information in this chat. I don't know who it was. But if they want to flag this channel, that's fine. We'll take recourse and do the same thing. Because, you know, this person plays the victim or played the victim with a video that was very incendiary of me and some more content creators. But now they turn around and play the victim. So, you know, we'll talk about that at some point, guys. And I might drop the link, guys, at some point to allow you guys to come through and talk about how this space has been beneficial to your mental health. But once again, consistent with the words of Dr. Helen Smith, black men are going through this as well. It's not a black man thing. White men and black men are going through these issues, to say the least.
People don't realize it, but in our society, for example, a young boy, and I have an example of this in my book, a young boy who's 14 or 15 who has sex with a 34-year-old woman, if she gets pregnant, that boy is liable for child support.
Are you kidding?
I'm serious, and there's never been a case. Michael Higdon is a professor at the University of Tennessee, and he did a paper on this, and one of the things that the paper said is there's never been a case where a boy of that age has gotten off. If you were 14 or 15 and you have sex with an older woman, even if it's statutory rape, it doesn't matter. You're liable for child support.
Now, I got to interrupt with a question right here. But if it went the other way,
exactly.
if a guy rapes a girl, there'd
be an uproar. The man would be put in jail.
Yeah, but
do you guys think there's a lot of unfairness and imbalance when it comes down to what men go through, conversely to what women go through? I think a lot of times that many times the tables are not fair when men go through similar situations and similar things. What do you guys think about that?
So the girl couldn't possibly be held responsible for. I mean, that's insane.
But that's the thing is people talk about how irresponsible boys are of that age, and then they turn around. They're always so responsible that they know exactly what they're doing, even if they're having sex with a 34-year-old woman, and then she's having his baby. I mean, of course he's responsible, right? Because that 14 or 15-year-old knows exactly what he's doing.
Right.
I just think it's sort of ironic when it comes to men. They're immature until you need to slap their hand or put them in jail.
Shout out to my man KW for the $5 cash out, and then also shout out to my man K Wims for the $2 cash out. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Or something, but they're a bunch of witless idiots when it comes to, like you said, TV or anything.
Well, and we're talking to Dr. Helen Smith. The book is Men on Strike: Why Men Are Boycotting Marriage, Fatherhood, and the American Dream, and Why It Matters. This is all the result of feminism, is it not?
Well, I mean, I think to some degree. I don't want to blame it squarely.
Let me ask you guys a question in the chat. Are you guys boycotting marriage and relationships? And if you are boycotting marriage and relationships, I want you to tell me why in the chat. If you are boycotting marriage and relationships, I want you to tell me why in the chat. Why are you boycotting marriage and relationships? I want you to identify it in the chat. Why are you boycotting marriage and relationships? I want you to identify it in the chat, because that's very important.
On feminism. I mean, I myself have always kind of considered myself a feminist in the past, but I thought feminism meant equality between the sexes.
Right. You're not there's gender feminism and there's the other kind of feminism.
Equity feminism.
Yes.
And I guess I'm more of the latter, although
Yes.
I don't really consider myself any type of feminist, because the feminist movement, it seems like there has been a lot of power, and I think part of it's political. We have one of the interesting things is I found that about 30% of women in the United States consider themselves feminists, but when you look at the women who vote, it turns out that about 70% of those women consider themselves feminists. So I think a lot of times the laws are driven by, I kind of call it matriarchy by proxy, but men are afraid. Of course, if Barack Obama got up and said something negative towards women, he'd have a firestorm on his hands, just like we saw with Larry Summers, the president of Harvard.
Right.
Got ousted, as you know, because he said something that women didn't like. And so men are afraid they could lose their position. They could lose, their job. And then that's sort of why I wrote the book, is because I want to talk to men about how they need to speak out, because I think men are afraid to come forward or to say anything because we're so used to thinking of women as the victims in our society, and that men can't be discriminated against.
Well, how do men handle this? How do men speak out, whether it's at a university? I mean, they'll get themselves in trouble. If it's on the job, they'll get themselves in trouble. If it's in a relationship, they'll get themselves in trouble. And they're taught this. They're taught to fear it, as you well document. So how do they go about it?
Well, I think there are different ways, and I talk in the book about, different ways to deal with it. Certainly, if you have a girlfriend or, somebody potentially that you want to marry, I talk about ways in the book to kind of, get to know this person for a longer period of time, sort of get a feeling for how they treat you. I think a lot of men jump into things. They feel if they like a woman or they sort of they get involved, and I think it's very hard for them to pull themselves back and to really put boundaries on women. And it's hard. Men aren't hardwired to. They're kind of hardwired more to protect women, and it's very hard for them to confront a woman and what she's doing. But I think that's a very necessary part of a relationship, is that you have to be forward about what you will and won't tolerate. When you see a woman for the first time do something that's, maybe she makes fun of men, or maybe she tells you you're not going out with your friends, or maybe she starts to put a lot of boundaries on women.
That should be a red flag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely. And let me just run some of these shows by you. I tell this story to everyone when we talk about this, and I watch everyone.
They feel the ramifications, guys, that could be going on. Maybe that's why those men don't want to speak. But I think if men speak together in unison or speak to the political framework, can you guys hear me? If y'all can hear me, one, if they speak to the political framework, then that can change things and get things back in the right direction. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for telling me about that. But what I'm going to do, guys, after I finish playing this clip, I'm going to allow you guys to come through. Maybe Saul can start. And a few other brothers, and I want you guys to tell me what this space has meant to you, and how this space is beneficial to your mental health, and I want you guys to come through and have a conversation briefly. I'm gonna open up the chat. One at a time. Only the guys that that I think are important can come through, and guys, we'll have a conversation because some continue to try to paint men. And like I said, into like negative talking points, and hold tight. They try to paint men into negative talking points, and guys, once again, that's why we got to continue to have these conversations. We got to keep having these conversations to get the outcomes that we think. Got to keep having these conversations.
Everyone loves Raymond. Okay, great show. However, Raymond is called idiot, jerk, moron, stupid, over and over and over and over again by his wife, and it's very, very disturbing. If you look for it and you let it bother you, you're going to find it, and it's going to bother you. And this is very. Don't forget that was 15 years ago or more. I mean, now if you could find a male. An alpha male type of role model or male in the house, running the house, in charge of the house, or even as a father, if you can make out what sex the characters are these days, it's even worse.
Yeah, I think what you're finding is Jim McNamara is a communications professor in Australia, and he did this great book called Media and Male Identity, and he talks about these issues. He did research, and he found that 69% of the media portrays men in a negative light, and he found that only about 9% of the time were men even portrayed normally. The only people who are portrayed in a good light are metrosexual type guys who are just sort of neutered type.
And that's what the TV is full of these days in the new.
Sounds like to me, guys, it's an attack on heteronormative masculinity. That's what it sounds like to me, that there is an attack on heteronormative masculinity. And let me say this, guys. To you single men that don't have wives, focus on yourself, or I would say travel abroad if you want a traditional woman. Is there a remnant of decent women left? I think it is, but by and large, it's over with. My focus moving forward as a content creator is to continue to have the conversation about traditional women from other countries. I'm going to bring my dear friend Lulu Bean on, and we'll talk about it as well. But I think it's done, guys, for the most part, because Helen Smith wrote this back in 2013. And it's gotten radically worse since that time. It's gotten radically worse, guys, since that time.
Shows that are on, which I don't watch many of, but you see the commercials, you turn by them. They're generic.
Well, not only are they generic, they've usually got dad doing something really stupid. Like there was a commercial I was making fun of on my blog, and it was a Volkswagen commercial where a guy is throwing a ball with his son, and he can't even throw the ball. He throws it underhanded in this horrible pitch.
And he's teaching his son the same thing. I saw that exact same commercial.
And it's physically repulsive. And I don't know, a lot of men just say to me, they say, well, that's kind of funny. But one of the things I tell you in the book for men is quit laughing at this junk. I mean, when a man gets beaten in the face by a woman, quit laughing. It's not funny at all. And, of course, comedy is funny, or slapstick. I mean, who doesn't like that kind of stuff? That's funny. But to turn and to men are their own worst enemies, and a lot of men make fun of other men. And I talk in the book about two different types of men. One of them is the white knight, that kind of, they're usually a more conservative man who sort of thinks that men are the big bad wolf, and we really need to control those horrible men against the poor little ladies.
Guys, we're going to have a live call in soon. Saul, you can come back up, or any of the other brothers that I know, y'all can come up one at a time. But I want to talk about, guys, how this space has benefited you, but also the Manosphere, how it's been beneficial, because this space was created outside or out of a need. And guys, we'll talk about that at some point.
Of the world. And then there's sort of the Uncle Tim types, and those are more the...
Uncle Tim?
Uncle Tim is what I call them.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of a name around, the internet, but the Uncle Tim is the guy who sort of sells out his own gender, and he's really considers himself a big fan.
And guys, this is a core of the conversation with what this sister said. This is a core of the conversation of what this sister said. This is a black woman. Let me see if I can find it. All right, I can't find it. But anyway, guys, I'm going to drop the link for a few minutes. I'm going to let you guys tell me how this space has been beneficial to you. And then we'll talk about the state. We'll talk about the state of the union. We'll talk about the state of the current union. And why there's been so many detractors that try to shut it down. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy this.
Consistent with the elements up above, illusions, delusions, the lack of self-awareness, and many others. These are the thinking errors or thinking issues consistent with the ones above that continue to impact many people in the West. I call it the matrix mindset. In these shows are designed to equip, encourage, and give men and good women the insight and the wisdom to make relationships better. But before we get deeper in the show, hit the like button, donate to the channel, share the content as we explore behaviors consistent with the matrix mindset that look like this.
Men are the only ones benefiting from marriage. The cooking, the cleaning, a maid, they get sex, assuming that she's fucking them too.
A woman gets sex. That's reciprocated.
Oh, please.
You a feminist.
I don't believe in marriage.
That's fair, but you got to substantiate your argument. And the only thing that you saying that a man get is a permanent door dasher and a dishwasher that we can get over there.
Well, that's not what I said.
So the real scam is marriage for men. We've pedestalized women to think that their box is exclusive when in reality is not. The price of boxes went down significantly. And the price that men have to pay in order to have in-house women that's in marriages don't even keep themselves up. Whereas when you single, you compete. I guarantee you that you still f***ing somebody. Even though you sit there and say that that's what men get when they marry you, you just doing it without actually getting anything in return for it. You don't get the benefits, you don't get the pension, you don't get the family, you don't get to be the nurturer that you're actually.
Fall comes to us in its own time. Fighters keepers, losers we.
Well, listen, I appreciate that, Quiet Storm. I'm honored that you said that, man, because doing these shows are not easy. It's not easy doing these shows, man. And I am a licensed therapist, and this is edutainment for me, using clinical concepts from an ethnocentric perspective. And so, man, I'm honored that you said that, man. I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you, the Quiet Storm. You and I have talked in the back, and I got nothing but love and respect for you. You, Gregory Scotland, Salty Balls, and
channel of the Kosher Clinician. There are 4 levels to this channel. There is Kosher Novice, Kosher Apprentice, Kosher Master, and the highest honors is Kosher King. You guys know I am the Kosher Clinician, and everything I do or strive to do is fit and proper. But many times we know that YouTube is a very competitive business. Some get it from the mud like me. Some actually steal talking points or more or less parrot talking points without consent or giving credence to the person that did the actual work. And because of that, I'm going to start making most of my content membership only to the great guys like Gregory Scotland, The Quiet Storm, my man Saul, and many others that always donate to the channel. Feel free to click on the link to the membership button. It'll give you all the explicit instructions that you need. And continue to enjoy content like this as listed to the top as we continue to strive to empower men from all ages and all ages. You know and I know that creating content takes a lot of time. And in order for me to ensure that my time is merited, to ensure that you guys are getting the best content to those, especially those that donate and show love on a regular basis, I've taken upon myself to take my craft seriously, or very serious, and to more or less ensure that you, the faithful listeners, men and women, but mostly men, are getting the best content possible so that you can not only get your needs met, but also so that I can ensure that I get the proper revenue, as these streams take a lot of time and they take a lot of work. And I need you guys to understand this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized, and understanding why becoming a member of this prestigious channel is paramount as we seek for resolve in times when male-centered content is not only under attack, but so is masculinity. Be well.
I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
To exclusively marry black men. We are in the middle of a crisis. Black men are in crisis. And anybody who denies that black men are in crisis is ignoring the data, the science, the research, the statistics. It is not a figment of your imagination that there are not enough eligible black men to marry.
It's been an honor serving with you all. Autobots, roll out. We roll.
Nanobots, transform.
She lie on them brothers, separate uncles and nephews and cousins and try to pin us against mothers. How you a woman but ain't got a man for protection, but you undercover? How do you think that we suffer? Thought we were sisters and brothers. Now you get birthed in the gutter. When they rap, they the same ones that cut you. Be the same ones who yelling they love you. Be the same ones who calling me nigga. After that wanna say I'm his brother. Yeah, she lie on them brothers. 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 So all going on in your man, you don't get it. And using your women as splitters, then hitters. Put you in place and our family ruined. Target your boys, you don't see what they doing. We gotta beat them, you wanna join them, we just leave them. Your feminist feminism, more like treason. Politics, you don't even follow leaders. First is master, probably cause of your Jesus.
God is white. Isn't it obvious?
Well, that is obvious, but we don't know if it's obvious that God is white. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Jesus did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the images of Jesus that are on prison walls and churches throughout the world are not historically correct, because history teaches us that Jesus was born in a region where the people had color. There's proof in the very Bible that you ask us to read in Revelation, 1st chapter, verse 14 and 15, that Jesus had hair like wool and feet the color of brass.
Just what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm proving to you that Jesus was not, and I might quote one of our Indian brothers, he was not a pale face.
This would have been a dick, you been believe it. You reap the benefits from your achievements. Penitentiary, all we get is to eat it. But God on our side, baby, we gon' beat it. She lie on them brothers. She lie on them brothers.
I'm big on you. I'm the biggest, baddest.
Separate uncles and nephews and cousins and try to pin us against mothers. How you a woman but ain't got a man for protection, but you undercover? How do you think that we suffer? Thought we were sisters and brothers. Now you get birthed in the gutter. When they rap, they the same ones that cut you. Be the same ones who yelling they love you. Be the same ones who calling me nigga. After that wanna say I'm his brother. She lie on the brothers. 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 She lie on the brothers.
Breaking all these black men with drugs, and they don't give a fuck. Yeah, this man hit me with fucking grabbed a rock and it hit me in my fucking face because I would have given my number. And all y'all just fucking watch. Y'all see that shit? Y'all see that shit? What y'all gonna do? I want y'all to be a man. I want y'all to be a man and fucking do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face.
Roll out. 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 Roll out.
All right, Passport G, how you doing, brother? And how's this show been, or the channel been beneficial? And guys, y'all know what happened earlier. So this person want to flag my channel, that's fine. We both can play that game, because what you're not going to do is come in this space, cause chaos, and flag me for something I had nothing to do with. I didn't tell whoever put his name, and I have nothing to do with it. But if you want to flag my channel, we can definitely return the favor. But anyway, what would you say about the conversation, PPOG, and how these conversations, these shows have been beneficial to you, brother?
Well, what this space is doing is letting a lot of men know that they're not going through this stuff by themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not crazy. So you think, because you hear popular media, if let's say you only watch television, and you hear, Tyler Perry, and you hear, Steve Harvey, and you're thinking, oh, I got to be a man like those guys. But those guys are propped up there. The regular men that do regular jobs, like, they're dealing with real people stuff, and real people stuff, that their method doesn't work. So guys, they look for answers, and guys stumble upon the space, and stuff starts making sense.
Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No. You got it.
Yeah, PPOG. You've been doing a lot of work with the passport movement. It's been so many detractors, and my focus moving forward is continue. I'll still do evergreen content, but Soar Seed. That's why this stream said. Well, it wasn't Soar Seed. There was a show early, but I put it in members only. So if you guys want to see that show that I did earlier, it's in members only. You got to hit the membership if you want to see it. And so it's not 3, but it's 3 combined with the show that Obsidian and I did early. Go to the membership if you want to be part of that stream and see that show. But I wanted to do a second one. But my focus, PPOG, to the single men that are looking for traditional women, is to continue to push the conversation that men travel with the understanding that women abroad are not perfect. Female nature is female nature. And to try to find women in other countries that are consistent with their worldview, but also consistent with their traditions. And so that's what I want men to do. I think Africa is one of the places, I've said that before several times. Asia is one of the places, and also South America. But what do you say about that, brother, based on what I was saying?
Well, migration is part of the human experience.
Right.
I mean, we had the great migration of black people going to the north. You had carpetbaggers going to the south for economic opportunity. People move for whatever their reasons are. So they're migrants all over the world. I mean, we tend to call ourselves expats because we try to keep some kind of connection to being American, but most people, when they change countries, they just call themselves migrants because they're looking for something. Mm-hmm. That's the human experience. There's nothing inherently wrong about that. It is what humans do.
Right.
I mean, you can see the southern border for that.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I totally agree. But all this bickering and arguing and trying to suppress men. Some of these men are very externized. We expect women to act the way they act, but some of these men come into men's spaces being disrespectful, and then they play the victim. They'll play the victim. I can't even say your name. KKB. They'll play the victim. What do you say about that to the ones that cause chaos and then play the victim on the back end?
Well, we come from a very unique experience.
Pablo, show your face real quick, brother. I got to make sure it's you because a lot of trolls.
But okay, we come from we have a very unique experience, right? So anyone that comes to America, they're coming from another country that has a system and order. So they know that they're going away from something that's already established. We're trying to establish blackness in a place where we don't have a backup. So our norm is what happened in slavery. And so we're trying to build something positive with that as the starting point for where we identify ourselves. And a lot of it comes to, how can I undercut someone else so I can get a better position?
Right,
because it's not enough for everybody.
Right.
And that's our experience.
Yeah, and I'm convinced, man, like I was telling you earlier, and I'll say the same thing to Pablo, it's done for. It's done. I don't care about trying to salvage anything. It's too much damage done. When you have people that try to attack you, they attack you, and then when you hit them back, then they go and run a play victim like this fool that came on earlier, running his mouth, and then because I had his name in a tag because he did videos about me and a couple of other brothers, But then you want to flag a challenge. So if you flag it, you go ahead and flag it, homie. Two can play that game because I'm built for it. I don't need YouTube to live. I'm in the process of making 6 figures plus. I'm gonna be in the high hundreds at some point. So I don't need YouTube. YouTube is just supplement money for me, and I do it because I love these brothers. But shout out to my man Byron Hammer for the $4.99. Respect the KC. Black men's space is constantly under siege by hyenas and their simps. That's why it's vital to keep the line and stay strong. No doubt, fire for your mind. And definitely hold the line.
Lucky person.
Definitely
You got
hold
the
the line.
number right, because you are
I agree with you guys 100%.
Dynamite!
But Pablo, how you doing, brother?
Dynamite!
How have these spaces been beneficial to you, brother?
Oh, well, it's definitely allowed me to reach out to a lot of other men and share my experiences, as well as listen to others and say, wow, you experienced that too? Wow, so did I.
Mm-hmm.
It is the virtual barbershop. And so it definitely let me know that some of the things that I was experiencing in this culture, I was not alone in, that it wasn't anything, quote unquote, wrong with me, that it was a cultural phenomenon that was happening all around me. I literally just did a show on the video that Passport OG,
right? Mm-hmm.
That Passport OG covered of the judge up in Michigan, in Wayne County.
What? Say what? You noticed that?
Yeah. I was about to play that. I'm gonna play that in a minute. I saw it was a good video, Passport OG. I'm gonna actually play it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the title of my response video was "A Culture of Disrespect."
Mm-hmm.
We experience and we live, literally, black men live in a culture where they are routinely shown disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
There was another incident with Russell Westbrook, the NBA player, where a fan down on the floor seats, of course, began to refer to him as boy, a white male fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you two, but I'd rather you just call me a nigga than call me a boy.
Right.
In an open arena like that. So these are the kinds of things that Black American men kind of have to deal with. It's kind of like these, what they used to call microaggressions. Although with us, they're not micro. They're out live in the open.
Yeah. I'm fortunate. Shout out to my man Barry Hampton for the $5 pounds. He said, support the kosher clinician, much needed in this space. I want to show you guys something. And Pablo, him and I, we chopped it up over this. But see, when I said, once again, Pablo and Passport OG, it's a problem. But as a licensed professional, not only am I saying it, but it's a black female therapist that's saying it too. And so I'm gonna play this clip, I'm gonna play this clip. Hold tight.
Pick the caliber.
And guys, this was from earlier when this man came on my channel because I tagged him, threatening the old man. But then wanted to flag the channel because his mouth got slick and my mouth got slick. But I'm gonna show you guys something. What this woman said.
Oh,
hold tight.
Black women's attitudes.
Now, the fact, guys, that another black woman is saying that black women, a large percentage of them, we know it's not all, struggle with how can I say, coping and doing the right thing. But when I say it, I hate black women. What do you guys say to that? And in the meantime, before you guys tell me, I'm shouting to Gregory Scott. He said, I live in the 36th District Court section of Detroit. I live in the 36th District Court section of Detroit, no doubt. Get in contact with me, Gregory, because like I said, man, I ain't gonna back down. You flag my channel, yours gonna get flagged too, homie. I don't care about YouTube, but YouTube is just something fun for me, and I appreciate it. But let me play this real quick, and I'm gonna show you guys some. Hold tight.
Women's attitudes.
Men, are you dealing with issues like this? Book a session.
And he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is, in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, she won't apologize. She thinks you're...
And guys, let me share something before I finish playing this video. As a therapist myself, I've experienced it. When you hold them accountable, when you show them the mirror, they crack. I've had some that have left therapy altogether because they wanted me to affirm their feelings instead of holding fast to the truth. And many times I tell them in the beginning, I'm not a yes therapist. I'm going to dissect your problem and help you find resolve. But I don't tap dance. You guys hearing that, what does that mean to you guys when y'all hear it?
Were you talking to us about?
Yes, I'm talking to you guys. Yes, sir. Hearing that therapist say that. Go ahead.
I'm not really surprised at all. I think that, particularly if most of her clientele is Black American women, although this definitely can go across the board in this country, that I think that because of the wealth, the culture of individual liberty and freedom, I think women in the United States get a lot of deference from men that women in other cultures do not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it creates a level of entitlement and the ability to manipulate that they are very reticent to give up when confronted with having to alter their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I see it. They know that when confronted by a therapist or something with a particular behavior, they know that if I continue to go, I no longer have that plausible deniability.
Right.
And so rather than continue to go and have to adjust my behavior, and now I may not get what I want, I may not be able to manipulate the situation in the direction I want it to go, I'll just leave it.
What do you say about it, Pablo, based on what this woman said?
Oh, you mean Passport OG?
I'm sorry. I thought that was Pablo. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead. Passport OG. Go ahead, bro.
So I would say that I think that modern women are finding themselves in a precarious situation because pretty much this is the freest society that has ever existed for women. They can sexually be with who they like. They can make their own money. They can live their own life. They can do whatever they want, pretty much. And women are as unhappy as I've never seen anything like this.
Right.
Like I remember girls being getting chocolates for Valentine's Day in elementary school, and the girls are still nice. And to see that it's the exact opposite of that tells me that women still want that space to be irresponsible, and that's what kind of sort of what they got in the when there were no patriarchs, I guess, if you want to call it that. But now that you're saying, okay, now you're responsible for yourself, you broke the relationship, take accountability, and it's just, I don't want to take accountability. I want to be a girl, and it's I don't know, it's just a strange dichotomy that's just kind of messing with women because they know they should take accountability for some of the things that they're doing, but there's a part of them that just they want to still be a girl. and say, I'm just a girl. Don't blame me for that. And if you do that, then you can't empower people to be irresponsible girls when they're unhappy, right? You have to take some of that power away, or you got to do one or the other. Like you can't be a little girl and just say, "Oh, I'm unhappy. I'm going to break my marriage, and my kids are going to commute between two houses." Like, no, you got to do something else other than that, right? And so, what's the check? We're still looking for it, right?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Gregory Scotland said, "Kosher, the time has come for us American black men to stop raising American black women so damn high, including black women in the past. Even the number of Democrats." No, I agree with you, Gregory. I agree. My only point of contention, Greg, would be is that you're correct. The ones in the past weren't perfect, in my opinion, but the ones in the past were superior, in my opinion, compared to the ones now. There ain't nothing new under the sun. And so I only venerate those women from the past because, in part, they were a better product. They weren't perfect. They had issues too. So I agree with you 100%. And that's a deal, right? I appreciate it. Right? Thank you, Greg. Right? Showing love. And Greg, reach out to me via email, man. Right? That's a deal, right? I had to do some legal stuff. Reach out to me. I appreciate it, man.
Well, listen, Kosher, the principal difference between women of the past and today is they kept their commitment.
Right.
I mean, the bottom line is they kept their commitment. If they got married,
being a wife meant something to those women.
Right. Yeah. No, you're correct, and you don't see it now, man. That's why I tell men, I'm not an advocate for men getting married in this culture. If I wasn't with my woman, if I ever do it again, my next one gonna be a foreign sister. She'll be African, Asian, or South American, but American in general. Nah, I'm good, man, because I'm truly traditional. I'm a very masculine man, and being a masculine man in America is a threat. They want to suppress your masculinity, no matter what you do. Just like, you got educated brothers in these spaces, and you got to constantly prove yourself to many times people that are not even on your level. But I'm going to finish playing this, and then you had a clip also. I got Passport OG, and I'm going to play that as well. Hold tight.
Wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity.
And I've said this several times, as a level of emotional maturity. In relationships, Passport OG and Pablo, when you were dealing with women in the West, did you guys experience these occurrences? And if so, in what capacity?
You got it, Pablo.
I'm sorry, I stepped away from your last play of the video, so I missed your lead in.
Well, so I wanted to say this because I know Pablo is here, and I know he can attest to this, especially as black men. When you go overseas and the first time you encounter a woman and she's just soft and feminine and nice to you,
right?
And there's a part of you that rejects it because you think, I got to get up, I got to do something for her. I don't deserve to be treated this way. I got to find something that I'm more familiar with. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of guys make when they go overseas. They're looking for what's familiar as opposed to what is more, I guess you could say, natural, if you want to use that term. And so guys go overseas and they meet a young lady, and she's nice and she's reverential, and he's thinking, oh, I got to cook for her. I got to do something for her because this is the way it's always been done for me. And I know Pablo's dealt with that, where there's something inside of you that's like, do I deserve this? And you have to teach yourself. Yes, you do. Yes. Instead of looking for someone that's a little feisty or someone that's giving you pushback, because that's what we're familiar with, right? Like, we have to unlearn that part of it.
There was a moment I had on the street in Dominican Republic. We were just outside walking down a side street, a friend of mine and we ran into this young lady who was sitting in the street eating rice, beans, and chicken. Arroz con pollo. She was eating arroz con pollo, rice, beans, and chicken. And I jokingly said, "Oh, you got some for me?" She literally,
wow,
took her plate, took her fork, stabbed a piece of chicken, rolled up some of the beans and rice onto the fork, and hand fed me.
Oh, wow.
A woman I did not know.
Are you serious? So this woman was a stranger?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
That scene Austin has that's going viral of him with these Argentinian girls in the restaurant, and she
feed him. Yeah,
that happened to me on a street corner. On a street corner, it was an act of kindness that she didn't do it because she was super romantically interested in me or anything like that. She did it because it was just an act. Imagine living in a place where they don't have food stamps. If someone tells you they're hungry, what do? You feed them.
You feed them, right.
She literally thought I was hungry and fed. That's a level of community concern that does not exist in the West.
No, right. I agree. Yes. I agree 100%. And that goes back, Pablo, to what I've called or coined taxation without representation. I coined that taxation without representation. They want to tax you for traditional benefits, but they don't represent you in a traditional manner. When you think about the 1700s, that was a form of taxation. The Brits were taxating the American citizens, but they weren't representing them. So that's why I coined it taxation without representation. I don't think you saw this part, Pablo. I'm gonna play it again so you can see it and tell me what you think.
Really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
He's still talking over me.
Well, you're cutting me off.
When I talk, you stop. Understood?
No, I actually don't understand that, Judge.
Why don't you come down here, and I'll make it clear to you. Come down. I'll see you at 12 o'clock.
I'm not coming at 12 o'clock.
Women, you have to understand that the...
Now, Passport OG, I got this from your show, and my man Pablo was telling me about it. Shout out to him. But what prompted you to, and I might even download that stream real quick, but what prompted you to create this particular clip in this situation?
Well, I would say a couple of things. One is, when I saw it, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. That was the first thing. Like, I saw it and I was thinking, is she a defendant? Is she a lawyer? And the second thing I thought was, when you heard his speech at the end, where he said, I've been doing this for 17 years, and this has never happened, and it just reminds you that, well, what does it take to be a man that's respected in the Black community? What do you have to do?
Right.
Can you be anyone besides, I don't know, Michael Jordan? I don't know, Medea? Who is it that gets respect regardless? Because if you go to certain other communities, there are some people that simply do not get disrespected no matter what. Period. Not under threat of force, under threat of, this is what we deem respectful, don't disrespect these people. And we don't have any person in our culture, or at least any man for sure, that reverence that kind of respect at any position. So when I see that, and I'm thinking, this is a judge with the power to basically end her career. And even then he's reticent to drop the hammer on her, because she would not act like that to a different judge of a different persuasion. Of course not. And if she did, it'd be the end of her career, because the person would drop the hammer without thought. But even in that position, he's thinking, if I drop the hammer on this woman, as I probably should, I'd have everyone in my family say, how could you do that to the sweet little young lady? It's a strange dynamic, man. We have a real interesting dynamic, man.
Well, they don't respect authority, man. You know, that's why, you know, people that have lesser credentials than you, not even on your level, you can they can question your credentials. You know,
Kevin Samuels, anyone?
Right.
20-year-old women reading him a riot act? Like, what?
Right. He's 50,
yes.
Right. And that's why I said, man, my focus moving forward, man, is about, I still do evergreen content. You know, I will assess this YouTube stuff. I'm definitely start focus more on my own professional career. Because I know my temper and I know my personality. I'm one of the kindest people in the world. But you ain't gonna bully me. I ain't gonna damn back down. Your mouth gets slick. Mine can get even slicker. Because one of the things they assume, Pablo, and the Passport OG, just because you're educated, you're a sucker, and you're supposed to take the high road. I know some folks say this, ignore, and that's true in part. But certain things you just can't ignore. And I'm not going to ignore. Shout out to my man KP from KC5 for the $5 cash app. I appreciate it. Gregor Scotland said, Coach, I came in late. Did any pigeons or Angry Birds show up in the chat or trying to get your panel? Yeah. It was a dude, man. This clown, Super Slide, running his mouth, and he even flagged my channel. But if he did flag it, that's fine, because it too can damn play that game. You know, I'm of the belief now, I don't like fighting fire with fire. But if I'm not doing nothing to you and you coming in running your mouth because I got you tagged in the stream, but yeah, you can talk about, and this is what I noticed, Pablo. Some of these weak dudes are just like the women. They attack you and they can mock you and critique you, but you tag them, then they get in their feelings and want to start name calling. Have you guys seen that economy?
Well, you know, earlier, a few days ago, you know, I also had Obsidian on and had him field questions.
Right.
What was interesting is many of these people had full opportunity to come up and question them, and I saw them in my chat, and they refused to do so.
Right.
So for me, that's a signal of cowardice.
Right.
I don't respect cowardice at all. I do want to say something about this courtroom video. As a black man who works in the court systems, and I have been working in the court system since I was 23 years old. I'm now 53. To rise to the level of being a judge as a black man in the United States of America, you have to reach a level of respect from and competency from your peers and others in powerful position to hold that off. Right? You have to be respected. You not only have had to pay your dues, but you have to be competent in the law. So for her to behave this way is highly unusual, but almost unheard of. And so when she does it to this black male judge, what struck me was the manner in which she did it. She didn't do it in a manner that is more akin to what you would hear in a courtroom. She did it in a manner of what you might hear on a street corner.
Right. I agree. I agree.
She did it in a manner you might hear at the lunch table of a high school, with a black girl and a young black male. So that is what struck me. The types of sassiness and language that she was using towards the judge is what really caught my ear, and also the knowledge that she could be disbarred. And, and gave absolutely no thought to that of a possibility until, I don't know if you've seen part 2 of this.
No, I haven't.
There's a part 2 where, remember when he told her, you come to this courtroom tomorrow at noon. Well, guess what? She had to go to the next day at noon, and I'll try to send it to you. Maybe I'll drop it in the chat.
Okay.
And you can take a listen to what happened in part 2.
Yeah, that apology.
It was even that was
Oh, boy.
Even that, she almost didn't save her career.
Wow. Did she get in trouble for it?
She had a strong reprimand, but there were no definitive punishments.
Gotcha. Yeah. They don't respect men, and guys, now with this immigrant crisis, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Hold tight. Shout out to my man, Mr. Greg Nielsen, for the 5, and Mr. Cash Out for the 10. But with this immigrant crisis, guys, coming, it's causing a lot of issues in the black community, man. What do you guys think about that and the implication of this immigrant crisis that's impending currently?
No, my senior goes first. OG goes first. No, Pablo?
You go ahead and take it, Passport.
All right. So one thing I notice is I see that I see two dichotomies. I see there's some young ladies, some women that are kind of doubling down, like everything's fine. I just got to be more of what I have been because it's always worked. And I think there's another group of women that are noticing that there's change coming, and they're a bit afraid of it, and they're pulling back away from some of that over the top like stuff, because they know sooner or later, like if at the very least, you want someone that's going to help protect you, right? And I'm starting to notice in some camps that there's some young ladies that are like, maybe I just want to just kind of back off this little bit and see if I can find someone decent and just kind of just, live the rest of my life, because I think that there's palpable change coming. And I'm not good at the worldwide way of looking at things, but I do know that the living standard for people around the world is slowly getting closer to the American way, and the American way is moving slowly closer to the global average. And I think that is making a lot of people quite afraid, because living closer to the global mean means eating different. It means living different, shopping different. And it might mean that you're going to live a lifestyle that's not what you dreamed of. But before you want to live the lifestyle, you want to survive. And I think that some women are starting to get a little bit antsy.
Yeah, well, with this immigrant crisis, man, the chickens are coming home to roost, man. And we know it was by design, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me finish playing this, guys, and then I'm gonna end this. Hold tight.
Understood?
No, I actually don't understand that, Judge.
Why don't you come down here, and I'll make it clear to you. Come down. I'll see you at 12 o'clock.
I'm not coming at 12 o'clock.
Women, you have to understand that the vast majority of men don't escalate to anger immediately. And you should just leave any man who does. Rather, the vast majority of men will try to communicate with their women many, many, many times in different ways, using different strategies before resorting to anger. And this is how women inadvertently train their men to be angry, by ignoring, disrespecting, or invalidating them when they attempt to communicate non-aggressively. And as should be abundantly obvious, this is very, very stupid.
First of all, a special shout.
What do you guys think about that? Normally men don't respond in an aggressive manner, but some still don't get it. What do you guys say about that?
I would say that if you have the ability to call a group of men to come and usurp the power of the man that's in your home, then you're using that man as a proxy, right? So like if you can say, oh, someone such did something to me, you can have him hauled off to jail, then you have a man to check your man. But most societies simply don't have that. Like they don't have the manpower for that. And so when there are small things like, hey, listen, you're pushing the boundaries, come on. And rightfully so, some young ladies will say, okay, well, maybe I'm doing too much, because the check in the house, the final check is her husband. But in America, the final check is the 911, it's the police. Mm-hmm. So you can ignore that. You can make light of that. And as a matter of fact, Dr. Theosawa Johnson was just talking about it. You could call the police and make up a lie and have the guy taken away. So if the guy doesn't have the power to at least say, hey, I don't want this to escalate, then if you know that you can usurp that power with a 911 phone call, then some ladies just don't want to even see the signs. They don't care.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, to say the least. Pablo, how would you respond to that sentiment? Then I'm gonna try to end this thing in a minute. I've been out here for about 4 hours.
I think he's gone. Is he gone?
Well, he said on.
I'm here. I was
there.
in the back chat trying to work on getting you that other clip. I think I dropped it in the chat.
In the private chat?
No, in the regular chat.
Okay, hold tight. I don't see anything.
Yeah, depending on your settings, you may not allow links.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything. But I don't know if you was listening to me, old man, earlier, man. What did you get from the conversation? We're gonna end the stream. I appreciate y'all coming through. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was late. I just came to you right after you got off with him, so I'm sorry I didn't hear your.
Oh no, you're fine, man. You're fine. Well, Passport OG. Before I end it, I got some clips for you guys. How would you like to add to the conversation about the strength of the union? I think the union is still strong. There's still detractors. I had the opportunity to meet Pablo, a fellow Eagle alum like myself. We was at the conclave. Good conversation. But do you feel like the union is strong, or do you feel like the manosphere is being fragmented beyond repair?
Fragment? Oh, come on, man. Well, I think who is it that says nature abhors a vacuum? Is that not what Obsidian always says? Does he not always say that? Like, if there's a need for guys to be talking about guy issues, and it can't be done on YouTube, it's just going to move somewhere else. Just like it's moved from certain websites to certain Google Hangouts or whatever, right? If guys are looking for a place to commune with guys, they're going to eventually find it.
Right.
And that's just what it is. That the only thing that can stop that is if the environment changes and women start acting different and fewer guys start looking for answers, which is not going to happen anytime soon. So the answer to your question is no.
Yeah. Well,
negative.
Do you think, Pablo, before we end, the space is fragmented, or do you think the union is still strong? What would you say? How would you respond to that?
I think that, like in any movement or cultural happening, it morphs. It changes shape. It changes appearance. So yeah, I don't think anything's going away. The ideas are out there because really, it's the ideas of the manosphere are already, they're out there now. They're all over. Like, you can't not hear them. This idea that it's gone away or going away, I don't buy that. Once the air is out of the balloon, it's in the ether. It's out there.
Right. No, I agree with that. I'm gonna play this clip, guys. I'm gonna end the stream. I really appreciate you guys coming through. You guys have been stalwarts. But before I end it, I'm gonna read out these cash apps. You guys came through strong on the first one. Shout out to my man S. Jane Palmer for the 10. I appreciate it, brother. Shout out to Andrew Baker for the $340 pesos. I appreciate it, brother Andrew. Always showing love. Shout out to the Great Eye of the Galaxy for the 10. I appreciate it. Shout out to Top Gun for Black for the 2. Shout out to the Real Bravado Network for the 5. Shout out to Byro Hammer TV for the 5. Shout out to Barry Hamilton for the $5 pound. Shout out to Gregory Scotland for the $5 pound. Shout out to Gregory Scotland once again for the $5. Shout out to Gregory Scotland again for the $5. And shout out to Gregory Scotland once again. As Gregory Scotland was the #1 sponsor of this stream, guys, but the stream we had prior, shout out to my man, the International Quiet Storm for the $200 cash app. He came in strong, followed by Salty Balls, followed by Quiet Faith. Hold tight. Them brothers came in strong, but I had to put that stream down for a minute. because this particular person decided to flag the stream because, you know, he want to disrespect me and start, you know, I'm going to say nothing. Hold tight. There were some more guys that gave. I just want to make sure I call their names out. Shout out to my man Chris 1911 for the 49 super chat. Shout out to him. Let me see. And there were many, many more. I can't see all of them, guys, but I really appreciate my man Jamari 81 for the 10. You guys came in big time tonight, man. I really appreciate it. Y'all showed up strong. Y'all showed a lot of love, man, and I really appreciate it, guys. And I'm gonna keep going strong, guys. But we're gonna end this stream on here. Passport G, any closing words, brother, before I end?
Well, I want to say salute to you. Keep doing what you're doing, Kosher, because there are a variety of forms of content, and each content hits certain people certain ways, and there are some people out there that need the content that you're giving, and it speaks directly to them. Mm-hmm. So don't get discouraged. Another thing I'll say is, and this comes from the doctor who's about to release his book,
Dr. Neil.
Dr. Neil is black male independence.
Yes, sir.
We have never in our existence spoken for ourselves without fear, and at a certain point, I think that if indeed we are making history, then black men just have to say, you know what, if this is it, if I got to speak my piece and face resistance, then so be it. But maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the time, Kosher.
Yeah, well, you know what, man. Go ahead, brother.
No, maybe it's the time that black men have to speak for black men without fear of pushback.
Yeah, no.
Now, when is it going to be?
Yeah, I agree, man, and that's why I do what I do, man. I believe in the right to self-determination that runs parallel with the right to self-determination runs parallel with black male agency. So shout out to Dr. Neil. But we're going to end it here. I'm going to run this clip why men need to go to the motherland. I love this 10-minute clip. And guys, y'all be well. I love you, brothers, man. And hopefully San Francisco win the Super Bowl with Steve Wilson, Christian McCaffrey, former Panthers. So we're going to sign off, guys. Thank you.
Salute.
Bring us in live from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State. This is the Ghanaian wedding. Guys, that's why it's so important to get your passports. If you can travel abroad and get your foreign wife, guys, go for it. If you want a traditional woman, it's best to leave the West. Focus on yourself, love yourself, get your passport, get your woman from a traditional culture where you have power as a man, where you can protect her, she can protect you. Y'all can love one another, and y'all can build a strong legacy. In the union, the Tar Heel State. This is the Ghanaian wedding.
Last time I sang, the sun won't shine till we meet again.
Looking for a traditional African woman? Book a session. To the new people that are coming in, Gene, I need you to reiterate. I'm gonna clip this, but reiterate, Gene, about the women from Africa, or the women in African countries that come and cook for their men in the wee hours of the night.
Either she's gonna fall in line, or she can take her ass on. It's that simple. I'm not gonna argue with you. You can go take your ass on because I'm gonna be fine.
You Kelly lying. She getting
a little bit of pushback for this.
You got some pushback from Coach Collision. Come on.
Just a little bit. Because although I understand your point, I also think that you as a husband have to be sensitive to your wife. Now, what if you want her to get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, but she already has to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work if you have your wife working? Do you mean to tell me you're not going to be sensitive to that fact that it's all, because at that point it becomes about what you want and you're not considering the wife.
When they come home, they can come home 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, when they come home, and I know their wives will get up and either cook them a meal from scratch or warm up what they made earlier, set the table on the plate on the table, and he will eat, and he will get up, and he will never touch the plate. Wow. And they will get upset if he was to touch the plate. This is what they expect to do. And when he goes to bed, then they will clean up and they will join him in bed.
You know what, you married, I'm gonna respect that. But there are women that are single, they might not have what you got, let you pass away, and them same women being in your husband's DM trying to holler. Trust and believe, because women can be damn very trifling. And back to the point about someone saying, if your husband asks you, would you cook him a meal in the middle of the night? That proves my point. It costs you something. If your man says, look, babe, I'm hungry, I want some eggs and bacon 3 or 4 o'clock at 3 o'clock in the morning. You say, I'm tired. But my whole point is, if you really love that man, you don't mind getting up in the morning and doing it. Because on the flip end, you're doing that act of service, which might be part of his love language, acts of service. He might say, you know, my baby don't mind doing this for me, so I don't mind getting her the ring that she wants. I don't mind paying for the trip that she want to go to. But my whole point is, women want men to pay the most extraneous things. But something simple as cooking your man a meal in the middle of the night, I'm not doing that.
Baby, you my only number one gotti. Even in my down times, I can't get you out of my mind, sorry. Hey, I done run 1,000 days just to find you in my way. Nothing like you in this world. Promise never let it go. Baby, won't you calm down, wanna know how you feel about you and me. Them they do too much, but you in control. Loving that about you. Me, I want it all, oh. She my baby doll, oh. Body they hot, oh. Leading out follow. Me que la tenga poco le yo. Yo no de pe matento un tío.
So American women talk too much.
Look, listen, we gonna go on there like if we, she probably come over to stay, right?
Yeah.
To like hang out and stuff like that, like for the weekend, right? And I come from work, and I say, hey baby, can you make me a plate, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she, you know, my African woman will be like, yeah, sure, baby, I got you. Just go to take a shower, but by the time you are done, it will be ready. All right, cool. American woman that I have experience. Oh, you got me up. You gonna make your own shit.
Damn, you know he ain't lying. He ain't lying.
No.
African, okay?
Okay.
African, we have a different tradition. Men are treated as kings, and you know this is who we are. Like, it's just a different understanding of culture between a woman and a man. The roles that we play for each other, and I think here everything is just so coordinated from a business standpoint, that people miss the spiritual side of relationships. You know, there's a reason why God built 15 women for every one man on this earth. If we, like, with all these rules that they got set aside for how a relationship's supposed to be, or how man and woman's supposed to kind of unite, or whatever the case may be, with that ratio, if every man decided to just be with one woman following them rules, think about how many women would be out there with no companion.
See, I say that a lot, and people look at me like, you scoundrel, how dare you? But like, the statistics speak for themselves.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You waiting all these stormy night, oh yeah. Stormy night, oh yeah. They found you on my way yet again. We must be meant for each other then, oh yeah. Baby, don't fight it. Hey, I was chilling with the bros who was up for a night out. Yeah, saw you in the cut with that wifey demeanor. Hey. Looking so bored out your mind though. You kinda give me the sign. So conversations became relation. No escaping, heart is taken. I've been waiting, I've been patient. Thought you'd been down, heard you skip down and can't be found. Where are you now, baby, deep down? I know you be missing me, but you keep being a mystery. Dang, don't know if you recall it, but last time I sang, the sun won't shine till we meet again. Been waiting all these stormy night, oh yeah. Stormy night, oh yeah. They found you on my way yet again. We must be meant for each other, girl, oh yeah. Baby, don't fight it. Baby, won't you come home right now? Baby, won't you come home right now? Yeah. Need to know that you okay. Okay. With everything I gave up for you. Did it for love. No escaping. Heart is taken. I've been waiting. I've been patient. Thought you've been down. Heard you skip down and can't be found. Where are you now? Baby, deep down, I know you've been missing me, but you keep being a mystery. Dang, don't know if you recall it, but last time I said the sun won't shine till we meet again. Been waiting all these stormy nights, oh yeah, stormy night, oh yeah. I found you on my way yet again. We must be meant for each other, girl, oh yeah. Baby, don't fight it.
Get away, but I could use some company. If you're alone like me, we could go on a trip. Girl, I wanna see the sun, dive into the deep ocean, dance with you all night long, move as you swing your hips. Let's take a break from the stress and the hate. Feel the loving, feel the rhythm, singing oh na na, oh na na. I wanna go where the birds fly low. Feel my heartbeat, feel the music, singing oh na 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 na. I can take you anywhere you want, if you come with me tonight. I can show you things you'll never see, if you come with me tonight. Say the words and I'll make it happen, where do you wanna go? I can take you anywhere you want, if you come with me tonight. Life is so bittersweet, let me put your mind at ease. Trust me, I'll take the lead, cause I wanna ride with you. Just give in to the fire, cause I'ma take you higher. You're my only desire, yeah. Let's take a break from the stress and the hate. Feel the loving, feel the rhythm, singing oh na na, oh na na. I wanna go where the birds fly low. Feel my heartbeat, feel the music, singing oh na 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 na. I can take you anywhere you want, if you come with me tonight. I can show you things you'll never see, if you come with me tonight. Say the words and I'll make it happen, where do you wanna go? I can take you anywhere you want, if you come with me tonight. If you come with me tonight. If you come with me tonight. Feel the rising heat, feel the moving beat. I know what you need, singing oh na na, oh na na. Dancing in the sun, dancing all night long. Won't you come with me, singing oh na 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 na. I can take you anywhere you want.
I would say yes. I would say yes. So, once again, guys, we are bringing to you live.
For the best man, we have got bread for some cheese. Right here, we have sandalwood and then Baba says it. For the good smell, we have Tony Nail and then Aaron Seti. For the flower girls, we have Maggie Odum and then Giselle Artist. With the ring bearer, we have Kenneth.
This is Kosher Connection. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Connection. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Connection. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is
Trendsetter, I got style for you. They see you at the top and spend a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, yeah. I'm so handsome. All in Carmine's with my Benz, I'm so fancy. No romancing. Got my baby and she right, she make you vanish. No time to play, got book dates. Had a plan, only had to wait. Always knew I'd make a way. Send a bill, they send a pay. Keep it real, keep the record straight. Keep it real, no time to fake. All authentic in my own lane. I am me till I'm in the grave. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. Ooh, never panic. Little worry, send it up and then it vanish. I can't stand it. Out of order way you move and see you scrambling. On offense, no defense. Still strong, no weakness. Used to say I wouldn't beat this. Now they wish they could beat this. Table set, now tables turn. God's plan, don't say a word. Know the price, cause I know my worth. My time, get what I deserve. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. Tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just pull it out and count for nothing when I'm feeling great. Give my baby little more, just to spend it, and I'm always on go, I don't hesitate. Used to always know I make it, yeah. I'll be me until I'm in the grave, yeah. See my record, had to set it straight, yeah. I made to kill like 10 times 10. I got wires coming in, some in euros, some in sec, some in dollars, some in yen. I've been trying to keep my zen, keep my cool. Trying to keep the family fed, get my food. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. Didn't do it, I did it all, no gimmicks. I did it all, no fibbits. Now I got all these children, now I got all these clones. Now I got all you twinning, now I got all you thinking like all you winning. They tried to count me out, they tried to fill that doubt. They tried to ride my wig, they tried to knock me out. They tried to count my wins, they tried to show my L's. They tried to make me in, they tried, but where they now? Where they? Step in the spot and they stare at me. All of these battles will bear me. I swear that nothing compares to me. Feeling blessed, I won't stress. Beat the odds, you know the rest. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I-O-D on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I-O-D on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. Countdown, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate, on time, never late. I grind, celebrate, no pump fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day, champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now I'm stepping up to home. Like straight out the sand lot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving, skinny, now my weight up. Got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam. Blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I-O-D on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I-O-D on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. Smell good, skin clear. This here my year. Hey, look up here. This here my tier. Same fit 4 days. I grind 4 ways. I play no games. All me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave. Can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane. Can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I cleared 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving, skinny, now my weight up. Got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam. Blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I-O-D on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I-O-D on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. I'm a one, I can never be you. Low me tools, no I can't be fooled. Low me tools, no I hate these dudes. I'm a one, I can never be you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you. Drop my first single, let go, he rap. You thought it was a drought, that's cap. I get the front and I get the back. Lil Uzi the facts, like that's a rack. Bought some new boots just to wear them out. Bought a new Beamer, I run it to the ground. I used to say nothing, I bet they hear me now. Ain't on my business, no need to hear me out. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than the check, say less. If you can say it best, say less. I'm taking all best, say less. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than the check, say less. If you can say it best, say less.
Loser ass nigga.
Your video with comments about a
He's a
certain
loser.
other female. Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings. And most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the streets.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know a who used to suck dick every mother night.
You can't
delete your.
When my friends go, it was simple. When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, then I strike. I go hard day and night, yeah. I go hard day and night, 1 to 1, no surprise. See the hate in their eyes. My brothers blood money bleed. I got the game in the squeeze. What would you do for some green? What would you do for some blues? Go pick and choose the fam of the cheese. Some people not built like that. Some people get killed like that. Pressure like water, lights, mortgage, I've been at bills like that. Now I got kids like that. No wonder why I feel like that. Some people go to war for nothing. Me, I go to war for some.
Before there was the Manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was.
When the end's low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike, I go hard day and night. Money on the line, keep calling. Money on the books, need all that. My kids, they'll be ballin'. Got a real bankroll, not for Instagram. My mama on the line, keep calling. Praying for me, know I need all that. Told me it's not about ballin'. Real blessed, but I'm still sinning, man. What would you do for a win? What would you do for your friends? What if this life is a foe? What if it all was pretend? What if you rode to the end? What if you started again?
Fire!